What is up, guys? Rick here, and today we are going to be discussing the Destiny 2 beta's secrets. Now, this isn't just me speculating, because in fact, we were told outright that we were getting secrets within the Destiny 2 beta. During an interview, the two lead designers of Destiny 2, Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy, were discussing the content that was going to be in the Destiny 2 beta. They listed off the different PvP modes, they said the Inverted Spire Strike, they were talking about the different subclasses, but then they both concurred that there was also secrets that they couldn't quite talk about. Now, what exactly are these secrets? Well, no one knows. That's why they're secrets. And a lot of people have been looking around the game and trying to find these so-called secrets, trying to find maybe areas or events that may not be inherently obvious but could potentially award you with special loot or at least a special activity that you can do. Well, today we're going to talk about some potential leads and interesting things that have to do with that search. Now, this all takes place on Nessus. Nessus is the area you go to when you do the Inverted Spire Strike. And when you start off on the strike, everything looks pretty normal. But in a strike, you don't have to necessarily go the ways the objective markers are telling you. And in fact, right where you start off in the Inverted Spire Strike, if you simply turn to the right, there is a huge explorable area that opens up for you. And not only that, but there's enemies that spawn there as well. This isn't necessarily a place you're not supposed to go per se. It's not like you're glitching to get to this place, you very much just walk there. And so let's start off with some of the interesting things you can find if you head off in that right direction. Well, firstly, you can find Pikes. People have made entire videos on this. I just thought it was a cool thing, but I thought I would tell you now. Yes, there is Fallen that go around several areas on this Nessus map. They aren't necessarily going to be in one single spot. You can often spot them, and if you do, you can kill the rider and take the pike for yourself. As you can see in the background, one of my teammates grabbed one and was using it to quite good effect. So if you want a pike, then that's how you do it. Look around Nessus for one of those Fallen pike patrols and take them out. Now, in that same vein, after we acquired the pikes, off to the right again, there was what can only be described as an enemies move against each other's style of event going on. Heck, there was so many enemies in this small spot, all spawning really fast. It was actually a three-way battle. It was the Vex versus the Cabal versus the Fallen. Like, it was actually Minotaurs and Cabal and Fallen all in the same spot. And also there was really high-level enemies there. The majority of enemies really had yellow health, and it took quite a bit of shots to take them down. And not only that, it seemed like an incredibly high chance, for whatever reason, for those high-level enemies, when you killed them, to drop heavy ammo. I'm sure you can see from the background gameplay, the ground is littered with purple because of how much, I should say, power ammo is on the ground. Like, it was actually bizarre how often you would get power ammo drops from killing each one of these enemies. It felt like it was doing that on purpose. This was some sort of crazy event and you were supposed to get way more heavy than normal. So this is clearly an event that likely will go on in the normal Nessus patrol mode when you're not in an actual strike. Now, it should be noted that these groups of enemies, like the Pikes and like the enemies move against each other thing, do not happen every single time. It's kind of the luck of the draw depending on what you spawn into when you're doing this strike. So if you want to be involved in this and, you know, try some stuff out, you may have to kind of go out into orbit and back in a few times. Make sure you're doing this with a full group so you're not just leaving people's strikes. But once you get past this massive amount of enemies, you actually discover even more interesting secrets about Nessus. One of the first things you're going to find is a symbol. And if you recognize this symbol, you may have been keeping up to date with the Destiny 2 news. This is the symbol for a lost sector. Now, what a lost sector is a patrol mode activity where you face off against a bunch of enemies and especially a boss. Once you kill that boss, he drops a special key that you use to open a cache and get some special rewards. So what does this lost sector symbol being here actually mean? Is there a lost sector right here? Is there like a cave that you go down and fight the boss and get the loot? Well, not one that we could find. It's important to remember that we haven't really seen what a lost sector truly is in game. It could be a hidden cave. It could just be something I completely overlooked. It could be ready for you guys to go and discover right now. It could also be more in the process of killing ads. Like you being near this lost sector place could just start spawning ads. If you kill every single ad, a boss spawns, you kill the boss, you get the treasure. That could also be the case, but the point is we very much don't know. We know that is the symbol for lost sectors. We know generally what lost sectors are, but we don't know how to activate it. We don't even know if it is active, but heck, if Bungie went out of their way and said there's secrets in the beta, one active lost sector seems like the perfect thing that Bungie would do, if you don't mind me saying. And I am definitely going to spend some time here over the beta trying to activate this lost sector. But there's even more interesting stuff going on, including the potential entrance to the new Destiny 2 raid. And yes, I'm serious. Now, beyond the lost sector, there's a pillar, like a very noticeable cylindrical pillar, massive one jutting into the sky. But there's also a very clear stairway winding up this pillar. Once you get near the top, you'll actually see that, through some tricky jumps, that there is an entranceway. Now, if this entranceway looks familiar, it's because it is. This is the exact same architecture as the Vault of Glass. In fact, this entranceway is pretty much the exact same entranceway as the one going into the final Vault of Glass arena when you're fighting the Minotaurs at first, and then after that you fight Atheon when you're coming from the jumping puzzle. Like, it's the exact same door that opens that leads into that arena. It's here again. So, could this be the entrance to the raid? Well, it's clearly an entrance to something, right? Is it an entrance to a strike? It could be, but it's too enticing to think that you have the same raid architecture appearing again. Vault of Glass 2.0, will Destiny 2's raid be against the Vex? It's definitely a possibility, and in fact, if you look at the extremely slow frames that we've seen involving the raid, like this is actually some footage from the raid. It just shows 6 players running down some stairs. I mean, that's what I would expect to be if this door opened up. A stairway down into Nessus. And I mean, if you look up at the top, you can see the exact same style of triangle-shaped entranceway. And if that actually is the case, and this is the entranceway to the Destiny 2 raid, being on Nessus tells us a lot. It tells us that there won't be a big raid to retake the last city, and that rather we'll retake the last city and defeat Gaul in the story missions, which makes a lot of sense. It also tells us that we're likely going to be versing the Vex in that raid. Although other factions are represented on Nessus, it's definitely a Vex-controlled planetoid. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section if you'd be okay with another Vex raid, or you'd really want a Cabal raid to finally be featured in Destiny 2. Now, yes, I'll admit that's some wild speculation, but hey, it's fun to do, and what would Destiny be without wild speculation? Remember, SMGs were wild speculation not too long ago. In any event, guys, those are the interesting things that I have found on Nessus so far. And I wanted to pass this off to you guys. Have you found anything interesting or anything additional to what I've shown today that looks promising for those secrets? The only two options here are that there's secrets that we haven't discovered yet, or Bungie literally lied to us for whatever reason when saying that during that interview. So I'm hoping for the first of those two scenarios. Guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.